Oh, yeah. I see. I know you heard that.
Oh, yeah.
That is how we're going to open up this week's episode of Dice Foyers.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gents.
We have our favorite dice tray that we use, and we use it for just about everything.
We use it for board gaming. We use it for everything. I don't know what else there is. Board gaming, role-playing gaming, anything that we've even used it just to hold components. I used it to hold my pens one time when we were playing a game that didn't require much dice rolling.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about AggroBoxes today.
AggroBoxes.
But of course, before we get started with AggroBox, we ought to talk about dice trays. So, I mean...
Dun, dun, dun.
Now, the thing is that...
Wow, your trivia page is huge.
I know. I found some really interesting
It's a trivia novella.
It just about is.
Buckle up, guys. Here we go.
Because, quite frankly, this is a piece of trivia that there's no way to even ask the question, I think.
The dogs are still playing, by the way. We're recording this in one big marathon session, and our little girls are all over the place.
Yes, they are. So the question that I was going to ask myself when I was looking up trivia for this week, I was like, okay, we've talked about dice bags, we've talked about dice, and we tried to find some origin of dice, and we found really ancient dice. And, we're talking about dice bags, and we talked about the dice bag by, what's the name of that company?
The Crown Royal bag, yeah. And that was a really cool, if I may say so, that was a really cool trivia tidbit.
Yeah, but I liked finding that piece of trivia. So I was like, okay, when was the first dice tray ever used? I was like, let's look that up, because that's got to be something. And it looks like dice trays have been around for forever, just like dice. As people said, okay, even back in the day, in ancient Egypt, people probably were like, I am tired of the dice rolling off the tables. Somebody make me something to put this on. And what I found out was, okay, so I can't find an origin of when dice trays were first used, but I did find the first, the oldest dice tower / dice tray that is in existence in the world. And it's a really cool piece of trivia. Mm-hmm. And it is the Vetweis Freudsheim Dice Tower.
The what?
The Vetweis Freudsheim Dice Tower.
Now, that's a dice tower. Is that the same thing as a dice tray?
It had a tray on it, so that's why I'm kind of considering it.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, most dice towers do have dice trays on them.
Mm-hmm. So this dice tower is a Roman artifact. And it was used for playing, obviously, a dice game of some sort. And this dice tower, it's the same way that we make dice towers today. It has the 3 little planks that are at an angle to, basically cause the dice to roll through the tower and increase the, randomization of it. Mm-hmm. There's no way, going through the idea is it's hard for people to drop dice on a number, cheating that way.
Right.
That's the overall idea.
I have seen role players like literally just pick up their dice and drop it onto a surface, and it just lands. I mean, you don't see that too often with D20s, but I've seen D6s dropped on 6s, and it just fell out of my hand that way. Yeah. Okay, whatever.
Here's the thing. So this is it was discovered in 1985 in Germany, and it is preserved in a museum in Bonn. This tower dates back to the 4th century AD and was a gift that basically commemorates the military defeat of Rome of the Picts. So basically what it says on there is Pictos Victos Hostis deleta levide sequi.
I know. He doesn't do Latin. He doesn't do Latin super well.
But the thing is, this writing is translated as the Picts are defeated, the enemy is destroyed, play in safety.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then there's a little bit more text that's not on, it's on the side of it, and it translates as use it and live luckily or happily, depending on how you translate that last word. But so I was like, man, that's kind of cool. So we're talking about a gaming implement that was given as a more than likely, military or royal or, noble gift, at least at this point we're talking about 1,500 years ago, 1,600 years ago. That is awesome. So I thought that was a cool piece of trivia. Cool. And it's basically the same dice tower as before, but it also had a dice tray. That, of course, brings us to today, and that is a wonderful, wonderful little company that we discovered called AggroBoxes.
Yeah, that was another one that you found on Instagram, was it not?
It was. I have found that going to small shops and finding these things, I'm this impressed with some of the home crafters out there, that you can find people who are really good at their craft.
Yeah.
And AggroBoxes comes out of Arizona, and there's a gentleman there who basically makes these boxes that you can find. You'll find them on Etsy, and you'll find them on Instagram, and they're so cool. I love this.
He's
box.
Probably on some other things too, but I know for a fact I've interacted with him multiple times on Instagram as well. Really, he remembers our box.
Yeah, we were the second people online to ever buy his what's called electric etched box.
Yeah, electricity etched.
If you've ever seen electricity etching, it's basically you have to have a really powerful electrical source. You have to spray salt water on wood, and then the 2 points, basically the current going through the salt. Yeah,
do you have to do the salt water?
Yeah, okay. The current going through the salt water, etches the wood. And it's really awesome.
I've seen it done. AggroBoxes does show on Instagram, on some of their Instagram videos. They have some electricity etching videos. I've seen it on some other YouTube guys that have done electricity etching. But they have a car battery, and they attach each pole of the current, I suppose, to one end of the box, and the electricity burns its way till it meets, and it creates, it looks like lightning or burnt tree branches. I mean, some of these are like etched in there deeply.
Yeah, it takes a certain amount of, I think saying it this way kind of downplays what it is, but I think that there is certain amount of talent and practice to get the etching just right.
Oh, for sure. And even the thing that has always I've liked about the one that we have is that generally when I see people do this, all of the etching comes in from the sides. And the way that Mr. AggroBox, I am sorry I do not know your name, has done these, he looks like he starts the current in the middle of the face of the piece of wood, because we have standalone etchings that don't go all the way to the edges, but he does it when the box is already made, so one etch will go across multiple pieces of wood, depending on how he's got it set up. So it's really neat.
Yeah,
it looks really cool.
It really catches eyes at the table. We take it places. I mean, this has gone with us in our backpack places, yeah, so I would consider this to be well made.
It went to Gen Con with us.
Yep.
I don't remember. I think it was at the Ninja Crusade table with us.
It was indeed. This is, so it's a really well made box. The wood edges are thin. I would say maybe a 1/4 inch, maybe somewhere in that area. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know if I would call them thin, but they're not. I mean, they're not like inch thick or something. But yeah, I'm like thinking a 1/4 to 3/8 inch. Yeah.
But it's not like a dice box that somebody has made out of a photo frame or something like that. This is not that thick.
Yeah. No. Besides that, inside it, the padding is like red foam. It's a firm foam so you get a bounce on your die as well.
Lightweight, eye-catching. You're not going to find really other dice trays that look like this, or, and this is me being honest, in the same price point. There are a lot of people out there.
Yeah, we got it for what, $20?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the current price, but that is what we got it for when he first started offering them.
Yeah, but there are people out there that will sell a similar tray in size and quality, but they will sell it for about $100.
Yeah, the wormwood trays are a little bigger, and of course they tout all the fancy woods that they use and stuff, but this looks really cool for a $20 thing, and it's, I don't know,
you get more than your money's worth out of this box.
Did you say that's like a 5x7?
Somewhere in that area, but I mean the thing is that it does exactly what it sets out to do.
It's got great sound.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it. It holds a number of dice. I mean, we use this recently to play Champions of Midgard, and I don't know if any of you have ever played Champions of Midgard. Those of you that have, you know that you can get into some combat in Champions of Midgard where you're rolling 8 to 9 dice, depending on your setup. But
we've used it for Star Wars, which again you can be using
Star Wars. You can roll so many dice. So many dice.
We've used it we obviously use it for board gaming. We've used it for different RPGs. I mean, just about every game that we have a dice implement in, this thing has come out.
This thing has come out of the table.
And people at our table know it. When we bring this out, people instantaneously know it.
Yeah, and you may have heard of AggroBoxes if you are a hardcore D&D gamer and you watched the Tomb of Annihilation, because they were using AggroBoxes. I don't know if they were electricity etched. They might have just been standard, because he does also do standard boxes that aren't etched. But I believe they were using them at the Tomb of Annihilation, which is pretty cool for a small company.
And for those of you that don't know, so when Wizards of the Coast was kicking off the release of the Tomb of Annihilation, they put out a Twitch stream called the Stream of Annihilation.
That's right.
And they brought on a whole bunch of very famous, different. They brought on podcasters. They brought on Twitch streamers. They brought on people from Critical Role, and of course, what's his name? Is it
No.
Help me out here.
No, it's Joe Manganiello. I butcher his last name every time, but he's the guy he's in Magic Mike. I think he was on True Blood.
He's the one that's really pushing for the new Dungeons and Dragons movie to come out. He's been campaigning for that crazy.
He's a super super RPG guy. He's a super nerd, and that's really cool because
he does the best job representing us. You can imagine.
Oh yeah, he's kind of the exception to what everybody assumes gamers are, but yeah, he was actually on Critical Role as well for a period of time.
Yes,
also.
Well, Satine Phoenix
and her group Maze Arcana, but they're also Twitch partners with D&D.
And they're official with D&D. So,
but I can't remember. It was like
there was
Dice Action or Ready Set. I can't remember. There's something.
And there was the all girl game group from Australia that was also there, and they're Twitch streamers.
See, the one
podcasters.
That was there. See, I knew about Joe Manganiello. But who I didn't know was a role player. And none of you may care about this, but Dylan Sprouse. From The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. He was also on, what was he on that I found that he was on as a little kid? Anyway. Yeah.
And his brother is now on
Riverdale as Jughead.
Yeah, he's the Jughead on Riverdale that everybody's talking about. And great guy. But
yeah. So Dylan, the one twin is that's focusing, I think, on behind the camera stuff, but he's doing. He was on the Stream of Annihilation, so I thought that was kind of cool. So.
Yeah, and these were the official boxes that they used for dice boxes for the Stream of Annihilation. I think that's awesome. I think, here you are, you get an opportunity to find something that, top level gamers are using and people who are really out there for the community. This is your opportunity to find something and have something just like that. And quite frankly, I love AggroBoxes, and the guy's awesome.
He is super interactive with people. He answers your questions. I believe he does custom boxes if you have an idea in mind. Yeah. He's got much more than just this style of box.
Yeah. How I ended up with this box was, I was looking for a dice box online, and he basically had done one that was it was one of these etched, electricity etched boxes, and he's like, limited time, going quick. And I wrote him, and he was like, yeah, I just sold that one, but I could make you another. And I was like, that's so cool. And he offered it for the same low price, and I was just like, I was, because he was making it for me as essentially custom at that point. I was like, no, please, I'll pay a little bit more for it. But no, he was awesome. He's like, no, I'll get it done to you. I'll go ahead and send you the bill, and we'll get it sent out to you. And it came so quick, and I just have been such a huge fan of this. Here is that moment. AggroBoxes, you will love it.
Yeah, I was looking him up to see if I could see some of his other stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, he does deck boxes. he's out there. So you can go to facebook.com/AggroBoxes. And Etsy.com/shop/AggroBoxes.
Yeah.
Is also where you can go. But he's got some cool stuff. And if you're on Instagram, I believe he's at AggroBoxes.
And he has actually started carrying dice as well in his shop.
Right, yeah.
Definitely, it's one of those things I'm now noticing, and something that we'll definitely be discussing in future shows, is that the many companies are getting into dice. Mm-hmm. There are companies that are 3D printer companies that are doing dice now, but there are also just the average person who is getting it put out.
His name, it looks like, is Sean Irish.
Awesome. Well,
so, thank you, Sean. We really appreciate the box that you sent to us. We really, really like it.
Absolutely. Definitely our favorite dice box that we have. This is it. Yeah. Yeah. So
this is the one that goes everywhere. We are going to talk about another item next week that includes a dice box, but it probably will not be one that comes out all the time. Whereas our AggroBox is lightweight, portable. It's a great size, fits in a bag,
and obviously is held up to trips.
Oh yeah, it's gone everywhere. It was in my backpack for Gen Con. It got jostled and shoved, and I got jostled and shoved and pushed around, and it survived. It survived. Doesn't bear any marks of travel. So very cool box. So if you don't have one and you're looking for one, we highly recommend AggroBoxes.
Absolutely.
So thank you, folks. Have a good night.
And remember, show me your dice, and I'll show you mine.
You've been listening to Dice Voyeurs. Please subscribe to get our episodes as soon as they release. For more information about us, check out PassionNerdly.com, at PassionNerdly on Twitter and Instagram, as well as Facebook.com/PassionNerdly. Also, if you are interested in supporting our show, look us up at Patreon.com/PassionNerdly. Once again, thank you for listening.
This has been a production of the Southgate Media Group. For more podcasts like this one, head over to SouthgateMediaGroup.com.